Okay, let's rank all the archetypes from 2020. I think this is going to be great fun. I think the way I'm going to try to do this is going to take a look at a mix between maybe concept, artwork, playability, stuff like that. So it's basically going to be you listening to my personal, obviously personal subjective opinion, but feel free to leave your opinion in the comment section down below. I think this is going to be a great discussion. Anyway, let's start. We're going to do this in alphabetical order, and the first archetype is Adamancipator, and this is definitely an S tier. What do I personally enjoy so much about this archetype? Well, this archetype is very, very competitive, very, very strong, which is cool, but I think what makes it so cool is the way they were able to portray the lore in the artworks of the cards. Like, I don't know, I personally, I really enjoy very distinctive artworks where you immediately like see, okay, this is what the artwork or the designer was trying to go for when they designed this card, right? And with Adamancipator, what I liked so much about it is that they were able to not only like create this very, very cool lore behind them. Immediately when you look at the card, you go like, oh, okay, it's with these researchers that are searching for these stones and then are trying to like develop them into these dragons. But they were also able to implement this lore very, very well in the actual game plan that you have when you play the deck. Like when I play the deck, I feel like I can actually experience sort of the story behind the archetype almost, and it makes it very easy for me to identify with the deck. And I think that's why I like it so much. I think this archetype was amazing. Okay, next up is Ancient Warriors. I don't know, man. Ancient Warriors, they're just kind of boring, man. Like they're just, they feel kind of useless. They're just kind of there, and not from an artwork perspective and not from a game plan perspective, they're like giving me something. I feel like, personally, I really like distinctive artwork, and that's something I think they have. They have distinctive artwork. Like they were trying to go for these warriors, like Chinese warriors that are like facing these challenges or whatever, which personally it's okay, it's cool, but we've seen this before. Like I feel like this is very much a 6M 2.0 deck, so it's a B tier. It's a B tier, maybe even a C tier. Oh, no, it's a B tier. Appliancer, this is a D tier. Like I don't know, like this archetype feels like a worse Morphtronics artwork wise. Gameplay wise, I know they have these OTK strategies which are like kind of okay. D tier. It's just kind of meh. Dogmatika is an A tier archetype. It isn't the greatest archetype of the year for me, not even like top 3 probably, but it's pretty nice. I think it's a like very, very solid archetype. They have great artwork. I know that the Ecclesia, the Fleur-de-Lis, the Punishment, and all of the Nadir Servant, like all of these cards look great. Well, something I previously didn't even know existed is the Dogmatika Encounter. That card looks gorgeous. Like I think that I personally, I really enjoy when you can see that behind a card there was a lot of thought put into it, and you can really see a whole story on one picture. I think that makes the card a lot more interesting when there's a bit of context to it, maybe sort of. And also I really like the, even though I'm not like the biggest lore fan or whatever, but I really enjoy the like the whole Fallen of Albas thing. I think that's kind of interesting. And they really wanted to go for this. You can see that they were trying to make this like their flagship archetype sort of this year almost. So I think they very much succeeded in this. I think it's a great archetype. For dual avatar, I hadn't even looked at the cards at all previously to making this video. I didn't even really like, I've seen some cards, but I honestly gotta say that this archetype looks phenomenal. Like to me, I think the cards have a lot of character. I think they're really trying to show something off. It's a fusion archetype, which I find really cool. I think it's definitely the coolest. Extra deck, I don't know how you say, like type or whatever. And there's one card, I will try to show it somewhere here, but I think that this card, I don't even remember their name right now, but it reminds me a lot of like One Piece, when Luffy like does a Red Hawk. I found that to be really cool. Like maybe they even drew some inspiration from that, who knows. But yeah, I really enjoyed this archetype. I think this is a solid A tier. Obviously, that doesn't really compare to any of the very competitive decks when it comes to like tournaments and whatever. They don't have any representation whatsoever. But just the artworks alone, for me personally, really stood out. I think makes it a really great archetype. Drytron, I think Drytron is next. Drytron is an A tier for me. I think I really like this archetype, at least. When I first showed this archetype to my good friend Steven, he told me, oh, this is once again one of these very cool machine archetypes. And I get his point, right? At this point, we've seen a lot of very generic and plain artworks for machines. Like I remember Jinzo, Cyber Dragon, these were obviously machines with a lot of character. I don't know what he means, but I think that gameplay-wise, this archetype offers a lot of cool things. I like the fact that you can go into like level 1 XCs with this archetype. I like that you can... Like, I like that they have this restriction where you can't special summon monsters that can be normal summoned. That, like, conveniently doesn't restrict them from using the extra deck, which is kind of funny. I'm just a huge fan of the color blue, so they're all blue, so... Yeah, I like that. I'm sort of biased probably, but this is an A tier. It's an A tier. It's fine. Next up is Eldlich, and if it was me personally, right, probably this would be a C tier. I dislike this deck for some reason quite a lot, but I think I don't give it enough credit, right? Because it's this zombie archetype that can replace their spell and traps instead of the monsters, which is in itself quite a cool concept. We haven't really seen it before, and there's only one main deck monster, which is also kind of unique. We've seen it with Sky Striker before, but still, it's kind of a new concept still. So, I don't know. I think objectively speaking, the way it revolutionized like control decks once again, and it made a new control deck viable in the format, makes it deserving of an A spot. But... no, it's an A. The next archetype is a Fossil, and Fossil suffers from one of the very common issues in Yu-Gi-Oh design, where it relies on your opponent playing in a certain way for your strategy to work out, right? There are very, very few instances in which this sort of strategy can work out. Like Mech Knights, they had their moment to shine, but with this archetype, like, not. Like, your opponent, it's a fusion archetype, so you rely on using your opponent's monsters in their graveyard for your fusion summons, and they have to be high level for your fusion monsters to get their better effects off, which already has to be a very convenient scenario for you, which rarely will happen if they even, especially game 2 or 3, where they know what you're playing. So I think that makes the whole archetype sort of irrelevant and fall apart. So not even the artworks can sort of save that. I think they're cool dinosaurs and stuff, but this is going to be like a C to D tier. Infernoble Knight is an A tier archetype for me. Previously to making this video, I was of the opinion that this is definitely like an F tier because the fact that they were always used so far to make like these obnoxious hand loops and stuff made it very unattractive for me to play or try out. But when I actually sat down for making this video, I realized, oh my god, like these artworks are actually really cool. The fact that they use fire as one of their main features on their bodies and their armor and like their weapons is pretty cool, and like I wouldn't say unique because fire is obviously used all the time, but I still think it's pretty cool. Like they have something going for them. I don't know what really, like they're kind of distinctive in their artwork, and they're just a cooler ancient warriors. Like that's what they are in my opinion. Also the fact that they stem off the noble knights, the regular noble knights, is kind of cool. So I don't know, I enjoyed this archetype. I enjoyed this archetype quite a lot. A tier it is. Melfi is one of these archetypes where everyone finds them super cute and then want to collect full binders of one of the cards of them, which is not really my thing, but I understand where they're coming from. Also, I appreciate the new approach in artwork and art design that they took with this archetype. I think that we hadn't really seen something prior to this in Yu-Gi-Oh, where it's a very, like purposely, a very unrealistic and comedic, do you say comedic? I think comedic artwork. So I think it's a B tier. It's a B tier. I think it's fine. They're also very playable. So they can use cards like Obedience School, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, it's a B tier. It's a B tier. Next archetype is Megalith, and Megalith is an easy one for me. This is an S tier. I really enjoy the way they look. First of all, like the artwork is super cool on them. They're like these weird statues, these rock statues where you don't understand how they're even supposed to fight. Like at least I don't understand it. And especially Fool is a very cool card that got released later on, where its head is like a, I don't know, like a cosmic, I don't even, like a galaxy or something. It's so cool to me. Also, I enjoy so much that they made a very, very good ritual archetype again, because when I started playing the game in 2017-18, Necros had already been a thing like long ago. They weren't competitive at all, and it was the first time that I was able to play with ritual cards again. Also, Block Dragon was like kind of fair but very good in the deck. It's an S tier for me. Loved everything about it. Next one is Nemesis, and Nemesis, they feel so unfinished. Like they got one wave of support, that was it. They have no game plan whatsoever. They themselves cannot play. You're supposed to splash them, I guess, into other decks, but they need so much setup where it's never really worth it to play these cards. These cards would have probably been nuts like many years back, like 4 to 5 years back. Probably would have been too good back then, but whatever. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is like in the current metagame, they're not relevant. They're probably not going to be relevant for quite a while. The only card everyone keeps talking about is Nemesis Corridor because of Colossus, but that is an argument for another video. I think I'm gonna do a whole video on that too. Yeah, Nemesis, it's like a C or a D. Like, I think the concept is cool that they're trying to like to banish and like shuffle them back and then like do like cool combos. Also, the boss monsters look insanely good. So no, it's a C tier. It's a C tier, solid C tier. Numeron is E tier, man. This archetype is so boring. I know not a single person that says like, oh, my favorite archetype is Numeron. Like, it does this very stupid Zexal thing. It OTKs out of nowhere for no reason. You need to play bricks to play it. I think Numeron for me is one of the worst archetypes I've ever like read or seen in general. I just can't find, it just looks so generic and plain. Magistus is quite a cool archetype that just recently got released. It reminds a lot of the Invoked archetype, which makes it immediately like a bit less cool for me because we've already seen like this one card, or I think it's not even a one card fusion engine, but like there's like fusion engine where you consistently try to put out like your fusion monster, and that's sort of what you end on, and you can splash it very well with other archetypes. But I do like that they gave spellcasters sort of a support in some way. So I think this is like a B tier for me. It's like kind of whatever. Now, Evil Twins. Evil Twins are okay. What I like about the let's start with the positive. I like about the archetype that they have this thing where one of like some of the cards look very realistic and some of the cards look like super comic-ish, almost like the Melfi cards. I think that's one thing it has going for it. It is also very much playable. It is a very good archetype. You can special summon out of the deck and then make some link plays and stuff. Also made Unchained Abomination pretty much a viable card, which I think is cool because that card is one of my favorite link monsters probably. But everything else I don't really like too much. I think this would be like a B tier for me. Like, once again, I think this archetype is okay, but it's just nothing special. Now we come to one of the worst archetypes I think I've ever seen, which is Ignister. So I have so many things to complain about with this archetype. Oh my god, the art style, like the artwork, it's just like, for me personally, like Salamangreat is one of like, it's a very weak archetype for me artwork wise, right? And this looks like sort of the designer for Salamangreat went on drugs and like like, I don't know, got drunk as well and like sort of spit this out. I don't understand what they're supposed to be, these creatures. Like, I know they have like different colors and stuff, but I don't know. Like, and they also don't really have a game plan at all. Like, whenever I play against this deck, I feel like they just don't do anything at all. Like, they're trying to make like synchros, exceeds, fusions, and probably this is like an anime thing. That's why they have all of these different extra deck slots in there. But yeah, man, this is like an E tier. So now we come to Plunder Patroll, and originally when I thought about making this video, I thought, I don't really like Plunder Patrol. Probably gonna be like a C tier or something. But now that I talk more about the other archetypes, I realize Plunder Patrol actually has a very distinctive look to them and a very distinctive playstyle as well. Like, we hadn't really seen something before with like monsters getting equipped in the way at least Plunder Patrol does it. Yeah, I think it would be like a B tier for me. It's a B tier. Rikka, when we're coming to the last archetypes here, Rikka is an okay archetype. Like, it doesn't really have a game plan from what I've seen. I haven't really tested the deck like thoroughly, but I think that from what I've played on Dueling Book a couple of times against this deck, I think that it doesn't really have a huge game plan. But the artworks are kind of cool, right? They have some detail. You can see what they were trying to go for when they created the archetype. But yeah, it also has like this very weird anime wife feeling where I don't really know if I should feel bad if I touch the archetype. It's a C tier. It feels like they put effort in this archetype, but it just didn't really work out the way they wanted, or this archetype needs a lot more support to make it good. C tier is fine. Tri-Brigade is an S tier. When I first saw this archetype, I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, this looks so insanely phenomenal. I mean, the Link 4, especially the way it like poses and has like a weapon under its elbow or something, looks so cool. The main deck dude with the like huge weapon here, I think looks really cool. I enjoy it a lot. I haven't really tried out the deck. I don't think it is the best deck or anything. It is okay though. Like, you can definitely play it. You can mix it with like Zodiac and stuff. The fact that it's splashable, but you can also play it purely, makes it also very, very interesting. The fact that you link summon on your opponent's turn makes it kind of cool. I just think it lacks a bit of power, but that's something I can overlook, at least for this rating. I think personally, I think it just looks really cool. I remember like the Spurt dude also looks really cool. The level 1/1, yeah, S tier, definitely S tier. Okay, to wrap this up, final archetype is Virtual World, and this was definitely for me the most difficult to rank because it's the archetype I've played for the last format, the entire format, but it's just because it's a broken archetype. Like, it is so strong, especially with VFD legal right now, but actually when I think about it, like, the archetypes are very weak in my opinion. It reminds me so much of Salamangreat that I would even say this is sort of a Salamangreat 2.0 deck, where the little dog, the GG, the one that searches in the end phase, reminds me so much of Foxy. It just feels kind of, how do you say it, like uninspired maybe, or where you just feel like, oh, they kind of use this as a template and then just put like sort of a new like Chinese twist on it. I don't know. I don't really enjoy it too much. This is probably a B tier for me. Yeah, it's a B tier. All right, that was me ranking all of the, I think it was like about 20 archetypes this year. Let me know what you think about the archetypes this year in the comment section down below. Do you think they were better than the previous years? Let me know. I hope you guys loved it, and see you.